London is the capital and the largest city in both England and the United Kingdom. Home to over 8 million people, it's a melting pot of cultures, traditions, and cuisines.
London boasts not only some of the most iconic landmarks in the world, such as Big Ben, the Tower Bridge, Buckingham Palace, and the London Eye. It's also home to the world's oldest underground railway system, affectionately referred to as the Tube, which opened in 1863. The city has a thriving arts and cultural scene with renowned museums, galleries, theaters, and music venues, as well as a rich literary history, being home to many famous writers over the years, such as William Shakespeare, Virginia Woolf, Charles Dickens, and of course, J.K. Rowling.
It's a city that seamlessly blends the historical and modern, tradition and innovation, making it an incredible destination for people of all walks of life.
We recently spent about 4 full days in London at the start of our honeymoon. We were fortunate to be able to see and do a lot in that short period of time.
In this video, we'll be sharing 5 of our favorite locations from our recent visit, in hopes that you'll find something interesting for your first trip to London or your next.
And this should probably go without saying, but given that we were only in London for a short period of time, this is by no means a comprehensive guide of everything to see and do in London, but rather a list of our personal favorite few things that we discovered on our short visit there. Any applicable websites and the Google Maps links for everything we recommend will be listed in the description below.
Also, if you find this video helpful, please consider subscribing. We have a lot of videos like this on the way. Our first recommendation is the house of MinaLima. If you are a Harry Potter fan or simply love art, this is a place for you. The name MinaLima comes from the 2 artists, Miraflora Mina and Eduardo Lima, who started working together in 2001 to imagine and create the world of Harry Potter, and who ended up crafting the entire graphic style for all of the Harry Potter movies. They went on to imagine the designs for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter theme parks and the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them movies as well. The MinaLima house is a store and a free museum of their artwork, and when you step into this space, you feel like you're walking into a magical world. They sell posters, shirts, cards, and a bunch of other merchandise that showcases their artwork and their style. There are many videos of the artists talking about their visions, their inspirations, and their experiences working on these massive projects. If you're not a Harry Potter fan, they also have other collections in their art style, such as The Little Mermaid, The Jungle Book, and Peter Pan. And the best part, you may or may not see some props from the actual movies, such as spell books and posters. Even though it's a small space, I would give yourself 30 minutes at least to walk around. There are so many first edition posters and art pieces to see. This is a great place to grab some souvenirs for yourself and for loved ones to take home. From what we could tell, it's actually a bit cheaper to buy Harry Potter souvenirs and merchandise at the MinaLima house rather than at the Warner Brothers studio tour north of London if you do plan on visiting there, which we also definitely recommend the Warner Brothers studio tour if you can make it happen. But if you don't make it, the MinaLima house is a great way to get a taste of the Wizarding World while in London.
Our next recommendation is a truly unique spot called St. Dunstan in the east. Set within the ruins of an old church, St. Dunstan's is a green oasis with plenty of benches, a fountain, and greenery draping over the historic walls. The Church of St. Dunstan was originally built around 1100, but was severely damaged during the Great Fire of London, which occurred in 1666. After this, it was rebuilt and topped with a steeple designed by Sir Christopher Wren. A few centuries later, however, However, the church would again sustain massive damage during the London Blitz of 1941 during the Second World War. Wren's Tower and steeple did survive the bombing. However, it was decided that after World War II, St. Dunstan's would not be completely rebuilt. In 1967, the City of London decided to turn the remains of St. Dunstan's into a public garden, which ended up opening in 1970. Hidden away on a secluded side street and long since dwarfed by the modern steel and chrome structures of the city, it is now one of London's secret hidden gardens. It's one of the last blitz-damaged buildings left in the United Kingdom, overgrown with trees, ivy, and wall-climbing flowers growing over the ruined arches. It's a really, truly beautiful spot. While we were visiting St. Dunstan's, we saw locals doing a variety of things from painting to reading, enjoying their lunch breaks, catching up with friends, and just relaxing and taking in the scenery. We found the greenery that surrounds and climbs up the ruined arches to be extremely vibrant and beautiful, and the sound of the fountain adds a nice little touch to the ambiance of the space as well. This is a great place to not only get some really unique photos, but to also slow down a bit, have a snack, and just relax in between visiting other parts of the City of London.
For a girl who loves food, Borough Market is the place to be. Though it has centuries of history, today, Borough Market is a charity run by a board of volunteers. These volunteers have the responsibility of ensuring that what happens in the market happens for the benefit of the community, the traders, the people visiting, and the locals alike. The market feels never ending in the best way possible. There's a plethora of stands selling full meals, sweets, ethnic foods, different treats and snacks, even vendors selling decor and art pieces. There are also multiple areas of the market where you can shop for fresh produce, pastas, oils, fish, meats. The list goes on and on. We found the most delicious fudge stand. It was so good. And a spot selling vegan treats, which Brian really loved. There was also a stand where they were making fresh mushroom risotto, which looked and smelled so good. We didn't have time to stop at this stand because the line was so long, but I cannot stop thinking about it. So if you get a chance to go and you see this place and you try this place, let us know how it was. Because there was so much to choose from, we each found our own respective shops to go to that were around the same area. I ended up trying this unique vegan Indian spot, and Brian tried some fresh Israeli food. We gave both of our meals an 8 out of 10, which is pretty good. North of here, across the Thames, is another market that you may or may not have heard of called Leadenhall Market. Leadenhall Market is definitely worth checking out as well, especially if you're a Harry Potter fan, because they filmed some of the scenes there. But if you want to spend some time wandering an endless array of food vendors, shops, stands, trying some really fun and unique foods and treats, Borough Market is the place to be.
For those of you that don't know my wife personally, she is somewhat of a coffee connoisseur and is rarely found without a cup in her hand at any given time. This could be a cup that was freshly brewed or from 8 hours ago and reheated in the microwave. Part of the fun for us while traveling, but especially for this one here, is to find new and unique coffee shops while we're visiting different towns and cities. We try to go to a new one every single day if possible, but sometimes you just end up in one of those cities that has an undeniably good coffee shop that you find yourself at more than once on a single visit. Though this could easily be an entire video in and of itself and probably an entire series for this one over here, we will be sharing our 3 favorite coffee shops that we found during our time in London in this section of the video, as well as one bonus stop at the end for all of the tea lovers out there.
The first coffee shop that we loved is called WatchHouse Somerset House. The Somerset House is a neoclassical arts complex north of the Thames River and part of King's College. I'm a filter pour-over coffee girl. I got a pour-over coffee at WatchHouse and it was a crisp 10 out of 10. The baristas were extremely knowledgeable about coffee and so friendly. The guy who made our coffee for us struck up a conversation with us. He made us a free sample of this new flavor they have that tasted like bubblegum, but was surprisingly really, really good. You could tell that the staff genuinely wanted to chat and get to know the people coming in and out of their shop. Brian and I looked like tourists with our big cameras and our bags. The baristas were telling us about different events going on in the complex, which we thought was really nice. We sat by the window to enjoy the view of the square, our coffee, and we shared an oat pistachio energy bar, which was deliciously filling and not too sweet. We also saw a group of friends out in the square enjoying snacks, drinks, and each other's company, which made it feel like more of a local spot than a large chain coffee shop. We didn't have time to sit down and enjoy the WatchHouse brunch, but we did browse the menu and it seemed like they offer a lot of fresh food brunch options. I highly recommend stopping here, and please let us know how the brunch is if you end up trying it.
Next on our coffee list is a little spot called Cafe in the Crypt. We recommend visiting here more for the novelty of the cafe. The food and drinks didn't really blow us away by any means, although they weren't bad, but the ambiance and history of the space is what really made it unique and extremely enjoyable. Originally built in 1726, the cafe resides in the old crypt of St. Martin's, which is one of London's liveliest and most loved churches and art venues. The crypt still boasts original brick vaulted ceilings as well as historic tombstones lining the floors, although for most of these tombs, the bodies were removed from them during the 1800s. Especially if you're already in the area visiting Trafalgar Square, this is a great place to stop, slow down, grab a bite to eat and a coffee or tea, and sit and admire the historic statues and graves that line this cavernous cafe. It's an unsuspectingly large space, so you shouldn't have any trouble finding a place to sit. And there's a bathroom, which, say what you will about us including that little token of information, but if you've ever traveled to the UK or EU before, you'll know that finding public bathrooms for free isn't always the easiest thing to do, so you're welcome.
Another wonderful coffee shop that I'm still dreaming about is called Monmouth Coffee. We stumbled upon this coffee shop after exploring Borough Market. The line was all the way down the block, so we knew that it had to be good. In addition to selling different coffee beverages to enjoy either in shop or to go, they have a huge variety of espresso beans that you can watch them weigh and bag for you. The baristas are extremely knowledgeable about different varieties of beans and coffee making in general. I ordered a pour over coffee and it was the best pour over coffee I've ever had, and I've had a lot of coffee. Like a lot. Another cool aspect about this coffee shop, they only use reusable cups for takeaway orders. If you don't have a reusable cup with you, you can rent one for £5 and you can either keep it as a souvenir like I did, or you can bring it back and they will reimburse you the £5. I loved the energy of this coffee shop and the surrounding area. The vibe is more sit down and catch up with friends rather than sit down and get work done. Another 10 out of 10 coffee experience for us, and we highly recommend stopping either before or after a visit to Borough Market.
All right, tea people, we did not forget about you, and we are here to recommend Twinings Tea Shop, specifically the one at 216 Strand. With over 300 years of history, Twinings has been in the tea business long enough to be synonymous with British tea. They've also been serving tea to the royal family since 1837 during the reign of Queen Victoria. At Twinings, you can mix and match various flavors of tea at their pick and mix wall into either personalized envelopes or wooden boxes, which make for great gifts or just souvenirs to take home. home. If you want to go all in here, you can take one of their various master classes, which teach you about the different varieties of tea, the history of tea, and the Twinings family, as well as how to create your own unique blend of tea. Like some of the other places we've mentioned, the staff here are extremely friendly, they're very knowledgeable, and willing to offer any and all recommendations, as well as some free samples. Another fun fact about Twinings, their simple logo has remained unchanged since 1787, making it the second oldest corporate logo still in use. Now, we all know how important tea time is to our fellow Brits, so don't be rude and go have a spot of tea at Twinings. Up until this point, I feel we've done a fairly decent job of recommending spots to you that aren't as touristy as some of the other places in London, but that streak is going to end here as we recommend checking out the Tower of London. If you only have enough time for one or two of the major touristy attractions in London, we'd certainly recommend considering this one, as there's nearly 1,000 years of history just here alone. You could probably spend the better part of an entire day exploring the grounds and learning about all the history that's taken place here. This mighty fortress was originally built in the 1070s by William the Conqueror and has since been home to a number of noteworthy figures, as well as being the current protector of the crown jewels. We absolutely loved reading about all of the history that's taken place here and what the various parts of the Tower of London have been used for over the years. Now, given that this is one of the more popular destinations in London, we definitely found it more busy than some of the other places we visited, although we didn't find this to be a huge problem since the grounds are pretty big and there's a lot of space to spread all those people out over. All that said though, we do recommend getting here as early as you can, preferably around opening time, which when we went was around 10 a.m. to avoid some of those busier crowds and peak hours.
This bonus spot is for our fellow bookworms out there. It's a cozy little 17th century lane called Cecil Court, sometimes referred to as Booksellers Row, and it is home to about 20 different bookshops and antiquarian shops.
Popping into these shops, you'll find anything from rare first edition books to antique maps, art, unique one-of-a-kind jewelry, and of course, boxes of used books outside some of the shops. We are both avid readers. This one a little bit more than me, but we definitely try to find bookstores while we're traveling, even if the books there aren't in English. So finding this street was kind of a jackpot for us because there were 20 of them.
Most of these shops open at around 10 or 11 a.m. and are open to about 5 or 6 p.m. So if you want to visit, just keep those midday hours in mind.
Fun fact about this street, it is part of the Covent Garden neighborhood, which Mozart stayed in when he was around 8 years old. It also served as one of the inspirations for Diagon Alley in the Harry Potter film franchise, which makes this street a mega jackpot if you're not only a book lover like ourselves, but fan of the greatest fantasy series of all time. All right, well, hopefully you were able to get at least a little something out of this video and maybe found something new that you want to research before your upcoming trip to London.
Again, this is by no means meant to be a comprehensive guide of everything you can do in London. These are just a few of our favorite things that we found on our last trip. If you'd like to check out the full highlight reel of our trip to London, we'll post the link up here somewhere and in the description below.
We have many more highlight reels and videos such as this one coming out from our honeymoon, which had 6 main stops across Europe over the course of 3 weeks. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel, as doing so will help us go on more trips in the future and make more videos like this one.
Also, if you end up checking out any of the spots we recommended in this video, make sure you come back and leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about each spot. We'd love to hear it. Thank you so much for watching. Travel safe, and we'll see you soon.